Welcome to the podcast, Discipleship at Home. In the first session, we talked about the biblical mandate to disciple our children. We shared research suggesting why most parents are failing, and we talked about the influence that war against spiritual growth of our children. We said that parents don't realize their profound God-given responsibility, and we said that the vast majority of parents farm their children out to others to raise. In this video, we would like to talk about two additional influences that war against the spiritual growth of our children. God bless you as we get started. Another influence that wars against spiritual growth of children is the persuasion of ungodly peer influence on children and on teens. And somebody mentioned that a while ago. Peer pressure is tremendously powerful. And the problem is parents aren't there to observe it. You know, the kids are somewhere else. We don't see what's going on and the influence that peer pressure has. And it gets greater as kids get older. It's great in grade school. It even gets greater in the teen years. And peer influence is powerful. The Apostle Paul said, "Do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals." That's something you can share with your children as they get older. Bad company corrupts good morals. If they're hanging out with people that'll pull them down, it will pull them down. I don't care how good a job you're doing as parents. If they're hanging out with people that'll pull them down, it hurts them. Read Psalms chapter 1. It says the same thing. It says who that we should hang out with. And I've heard parents say, and I've heard pastors say, well, my kids are missionaries in the public school. They're not ready to be missionaries yet. You know, and the pressure's too great. They have to be very dynamically spiritual, be able to weather that as teenagers. So don't expect that your kids are going to make it with that tremendous peer pressure. And then D, the danger of secular public education is really devastating. The public schools teach secular and humanistic worldviews. They promote feminism, same-sex marriage. They're pro-gay. They do not teach the sanctity of life. They promote non-materialistic lifestyles, on and on. And nowadays, in fact, there's a new curriculum in a public school. I believe it's called core curriculum. And the core curriculum is devastating. It's new, and most parents don't know about it. And it's much worse than what we've had before. And it's very, very much along. They teach all the things I just said at a greater degree. And it's really a bad thing. And the authorities want to get that in private schools, and it's going to be a battle to get it in private schools. But that's going to be one of the next things that we're going to have to be concerned about. But the core curriculum is in all public schools now, and it teaches all those things I just referred to, and more. And it minimizes so much the good in history. It takes out so much of the good things and substitutes some of the idols that kids have, and puts a lot of time with subjects like Madonna and other, maybe Justin Bieber, other people that are influential to kids, instead of people like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and others like that. I'm not saying it doesn't talk about them, but it minimizes people like that and emphasizes others. So if you haven't, see if you can get a copy of that material and spend some time studying it. You'll see how harmful it is. Yes?
So what are some examples of that? Because I've been in public education for 11 years, and I don't experience any of that.
Well, this is a new, core curriculum is new.
The Common Core?
Yeah, Common Core. Fairly new.
Okay, I'm familiar with it. I haven't seen any of those in the standards. So I was just wondering, because that's my profession. And
yeah. Well, that's what authorities that have analyzed it say. I haven't read it all either, so I can't say which lessons and so forth. But these things have been taught for some time in public schools. Now maybe you didn't teach it, but other teachers do. And the humanism and so forth has been a key thing that has been taught. And materialistic, self-seeking lifestyle, which is part of our American culture, but it's also puts man first and God second. Yes.
I just want to say I'm on a different spectrum than all people here. My daughter is actually already out of high school, but I just want to say that when she was in high school, she just graduated last year, they taught many of those things. And she came home, and unfortunately, I raised her. All the things that you're saying, I wish I, could go back, but I raised her in a pretty much a single parent home, and she did all those things, preschool and what have you. But as she got older, and I thank you, Lord, that she is serving Him and that she loves Him, but there's a lot of things that towards the end of her schooling years, she said, Mom, I don't agree with this, and they say these things, and then she would stand for herself. They actually had a thing on same-sex marriages, and they had them literally separate themselves in the room for those who agree and those who don't. She was the only one standing.
So that sounds like more of like a high school.
It was high school
issue.
It was high
I
school.
don't think, but
But
to
anyway,
give the impression that it's like preschool through whatever, I think is.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that I remember her telling me things even in younger years, and things that she had to do in earlier years. It was high school, so but
And
she didn't even go to the Catholic. She went to the Catholic grammar school.
And I didn't say that all these topics are taught in every age either. Obviously, there's more emphasis in the higher grades in some of these subjects.
They did have like a what a family is.
Mhm.
They had all these different, ways families can be, and it's one of it said Susie has two mommies and that's okay. And so that was in preschool, and that was, so she's 12 now. That was quite a while ago, and that floored me. That was in the public school system that they would teach that to preschoolers. That it's okay to mom.
Well, it's a very subtle thing that's beginning in the lower grades, but I just recently read about an upcoming event where the public schools are going to acknowledge gay and lesbian situations, and they're going to have a day to acknowledge it. And this organization, Illinois Family Institute, if you know it, has asked Christian parents to keep their children at home that day, because sending them validates what they're doing, and this is a way to show we don't agree with what you're doing. So we've been in the legislative arena for 19, 20 years, not presently, but we dealt with it then. And so this has been going on for years, and it's subtle. When you're teaching that there's no absolutes, there's no absolutes in math, there's no absolutes, and that's coming down the road. So it's another whole seminar, it's another whole discussion, but it does exist.
I guess the whole point is not really to debate those issues, is just to say that it's all the more harmful to have your kids go through the public school system as far as the content and the lack of Christian influence and the heavy peer pressure and all these things.